Hello everybody and welcome to the North American Star League Season number 2. Today's going to be week number 4, Division 4. I'm joined alongside by my good old friend, Jake Orbs-Scleroux. Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a great, sunny California day as always.
Oh, yes. You know what? That's the best thing about California. It, never seems to rain. It's, the best and worst because the last time I saw rain and, the first time I saw rain for, months was Hurricane Irene.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
And I was like, oh, well, I guess I didn't miss the rain.
It's gotta not be good for wine country, man. I don't know how they have so much good wine out here.
I don't know. But nevertheless, I'm so happy that you're here. Of course, you've been here the whole week, and you are going to be here tomorrow as well, which is really cool, and continuing weeks on. But, if you guys missed any of that action with me and Great Orb, you can catch it on www.nasl.tv. Go over there, and you can purchase the HD Pass, which entitles you to of course, the very important VOD access, so you can see me and Orb in all of our glory. And you can check out all the games that you did miss, so please go check that out, www.nasl.tv. You can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. We are facebook.com/NASLTV and twitter.com/NASLTV. And while you're at it, go check out this guy, OrbTL, on Twitter. He's pretty handsome as well. I gotcha, bro.
You are as well, Andre. Definitely check out him as well. Greytorp on Twitter, right? Do you have SC2 Effort or is it just Greytorp?
Greytorp. Just Greytorp.
Have you followed? So I never remember the name, man. I'll be honest. I just checked the Twitter.
It's all good, bro. But nevertheless, go check those out. People that do, they're better people.
They are, man.
They're just straight up better people.
That's how it works.
They go up a class system in all society.
In esports.
That being said, let's go ahead and get into the matches that we have today. So, Emmett, let's see them. We have Inca versus Moonglade as our match number 1. Match number 2 is going to be Sen versus Night End. Match number 3 is going to be Strelic versus Rhett. And last but not least, we have InControl versus Select as our 4th match of the day. Some exciting matches. But first, before we go into the analysis, I know you're dying to analyze some of these. Let's go into the maps first. So, Emmett, let's see the maps. We have Terminus SE as our first map. Then following it is going to be Dual Site. Last but not least, we have something that reminds me of the Jersey Shore. I said this with the gun run. Belshire Beach.
It reminds you of the Jersey Shore?
Yeah, because it's that beautiful.
Well, I think what's interesting about this map lineup, it is going to be in that order, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I think is interesting about that is you start off on a macro map, then you go to a 2-player, smaller, a little bit less macro-oriented map, and the third map, yet again, is a 2-player, somewhat smaller, less macro-oriented map, right? So it's going to, I feel, favor the person that's going to have the advantage in the second game. If you lose the first, going to the second,
Belshire is like that it can be aggressive, but it can be macro-oriented. I mean, you have 6 bases to each side, which is quite big, and it's easy because there's 4 bases that hug a corner or a side or something, or hug the edge of the map. So what that really enables you to do is only defend against, 180 degrees instead of the full 360. Something like Zelnaga Caverns that we see, taking that gold expansion is so risky because it has that 360 degree angle that you can attack that. I think it does favor, though, as you were saying before, I think it does favor the more aggressive player, though. In both Dual Site, I think that we've normally seen the aggressive player really edge out their opponents historically in the past, and I think that's going to be a very useful thing that we see going on Dual Site. Like Belshire Beach, a lot of times it's like 3 base against 4 base. That kind of dynamic, because as soon as you take like a 4th base, all of a sudden you are really spread out, and you need to be able to really be mobile, things like that. And the 3 baser, as soon as they see the 4 base, they're like, oh, I got to push now, go.
Yeah, I mean, I think those small maps really all come down to the map control and those 2 crucial Zelnaga towers, both in Dual Site and in Belshire Beach.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you really have to watch if you're trying to defend 4 bases like you were talking about. Let's say you have the entire bottom line of the map, and you have like your army in one spot, and their army's going to go flank around to the right side or something. If you don't see that coming, it can be a huge problem. So map control can be very, very important on those smaller maps, even more so, I feel, than on a map like Terminus, where at least all 3 of your bases are going to be like defended from the same spot, and even your 4th from you're going to have one general, not necessarily a choke point, but one area you can at least kind of leave your army to defend all of your bases at once.
Okay. Well, we'll see how these players play on all these maps. Let's go ahead and go into the last matchup of the day. It is going to be InControl versus Select to round things out. Now, InControl is a player from Team Evil Geniuses. I might know him a little bit. His name is Jeff InControl Robinson, of course. He's quite a power lifter,
Indeed, he is.
He lifts just about half of what I do, so he's getting up there. He's getting up there.
Probably the strongest guy in esports, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane that he's able to do that and play at a competitive level. So, I think in that matchup, I think obviously it's probably viewed as Select being the favorite, but InControl, he's someone that can pull out an upset, man. If he just gets like one pylon hidden in your base, all of a sudden you can turn that into a win. He does that like all the time, so you never know what you're going to see from him. And it's not.
One thing about InControl is that he always does these theory wins. That's what I always like to say about him. He likes those just calm, cool, collect type of decision-making things. We saw that in Starcraft 1. He was the same type of style. He just, used his superior decision-making to really give him the advantages in all of his matches. Now, against someone like Select that's going to push your mechanics, and Select, let's go over and look at him. Select is a person that really, really likes to have control over your opponent. So he does all this aggression. He makes sure that you're on your toes, and it stresses the mechanics of your opponent. And someone like InControl isn't necessarily known for the best mechanics, isn't known for having that great of composure, but he is good at decision making. We'll see. I think it's going to come down to, is InControl prepared for the aggression? Because if he's caught off guard, immediately I think Select will capitalize off that, and he'll just take it away with his superior mechanics.
Yeah, on the bright side, I think Select is a little bit more of a predictable player. He does have a certain style. He really, especially in TVP, likes to go for those early drops. He likes to use those medevacs pretty darn effectively and commonly.
That's very true.
So it's possible that Jeff or InControl, will go ahead and prepare a build for that. You never know what we might see if he just tries to blind counter Select. So he has to be aware of that. Make sure that Select isn't too predictable, so that he just gets blind countered.
Definitely. Well, the pressure is definitely on InControl in this one, and we'll see if he can pull out this win or not, because Select is just such a fearsome opponent. Match number 4 we're going to go into is going to be Strelok versus Rhett. Now this is like the battle of the beast. Both these players made it to the round of 16 from Season 1. Strelok unfortunately did not have his visa to continue on into the round of 16, but still Rhett was regarded as one of the best players going into it. Fortunately, he had a very short run at the finals, but still he was #1 ranked in the entire group play.
That's pretty darn impressive, man.
Ranked. That is amazing. And he fell to Puma too, of all people.
Yeah, there's no shame in losing to Puma, man.
No,
none at all. I mean,
definitely not.
Rhett's a pretty insane Zerg player. He's one of those players that's really, really, really well known for just getting as many drones as possible really early on. One of the fastest maxed Zergs you'll ever see. Like ZVP, sometimes he'll go 4 hatch before he drops a single gas. So he's a very, very macro-oriented player. And if Braddock doesn't want to get just overrun, he's either going to have to come out with some really sick early timings to bust Rhett, or, his macro is going to have to be top-notch if he wants to compete with him in a standard macro game.
Yeah, Strelok has really surprised a lot of people, though, going into this season. I feel like he's been so ambitious. He named himself the Ambitious Terran, of course, but he's been so ambitious with his training that I think after seeing him throughout these weeks, I think we've started to develop a new Strelok. He does look to go to the macro games sometimes, and he does look to play up there with the top people. He thinks that his style is good enough. He's random enough so that his opponents aren't taking advantage of him. Like, let's say Idra, a lot of people take advantage of Idra and his style, but Strelok has just been really, really all over the place, I feel, and he's been able to compete up there with every single style. I think Strelok's going to be looking really good. This is a tough match to really call. I don't think there's a favorite in this, but I think
so.
This has to be the marquee match of today.
Absolutely, man. It's like you said, Strelok's like a new Strelok, man. Yeah. I think, unless I'm remembering the wrong person, but I'm pretty sure it was Strelok. He made that announcement like a while back. He wasn't practicing as much. That's why we didn't see as much from Strelok in the past. Yep. But he did start practicing. I think he said he was going to practice 7 hours a day, like every day. And he was going to be streaming a ton. So definitely check out his stream on Team Liquid, by the way, if you have not. It's pretty awesome. But he's been practicing so much. I think that's why we're starting to see some better results from him.
Yep. Now, match number 2, we will have Sen versus Knight, and the battle of the ex-teammates. Both of them were on Fnatic MSI, as was I. And I get to watch both these players now clash. Sen and Knight probably have a lot of history.
Do they? I'm trying to remember, like, what matches I've seen that they've played each other.
Well, they were teammates, so they would practice with each other.
Right, of course.
That's the big thing.
Did they have any did they ever have to team kill in a tournament though? Or
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't think so.
That's lucky at least.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I mean, Sen's
but
pretty.
They're going to meet up now in the NASL, and a lot of people can look at this and say, okay, Sen is probably the favorite going into this because he's just. When is he not the favorite going into it? In the NASL Season 1, he was one game away from beating MC, OGS MC. You might have heard of him. And all of the games that he lost, he almost beat MC. It was just like nail-biting. He had an advantage, and then MC, with some superior play, would just come back, and Sen would be like, I don't know what's going on. But, Sen is definitely a favorite, I think. He just has superior mechanics, superior really everything compared to the foreign scene. It just looks so cool when you watch him play.
He's a really fantastic player. He's also been streaming a lot lately. I've been seeing his popularity rising and rising. I see 4 to 5K viewers just him streaming his own games. So the guy's doing really well for himself right now. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how his play's been developing recently. Now,
Night-End, on the other hand, he is coming from Team Fnatic MSI. And, he's been kind of... Not a lot of people have heard of him, but he did come from the open qualifiers, so we know he is very robust against most plays. He is considered one of the most standard-style Protoss I've seen in a very long time. And when I say standard, I mean standard. There is nothing that he goes off. He plays a conservative form and just goes towards that mass units and relies on his army control or relies on his macro mechanics, everything like that, to just get him those wins. But against a player like Sen, I don't know if you can do something like that. If you play past like that, Sen is going to take advantage of you. He's going to realize it, he's going to assess the situation, and then he's going to play off of it. And I think Night-End is, to be honest, in a lot of trouble.
I mean, we've talked about predictability before. Talk about it again, man. But as you said, teammates, they've practiced against each other multiple times. So if Sen knows this, I'm sure he does. If they practice against each other, he's going to know that his player is going to be playing like that. So if you have that kind of style going into it, it can be very dangerous for you. On the other hand, Sen obviously does have to play a little bit safer. I mean, in a tournament setting, you can use that to your advantage, throw your opponent off if you always go for that macro style and then just all of a sudden pull something out of your hat of tricks that they're just really not expecting.
Very true. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to that. Now, our match number 1 for the day is going to be Inca versus Moonglade. Now, this is an interesting match. Inca, of course, we know he has been monstrous, but not against Zerg. That's the one problem. Inca has really faltered to Zerg quite a bit. He lost to both Sen and Rhett. Very respectable losses, though. But, I know I've been talking to him personally, and he says PvZ is, so difficult right now. And a lot of players don't know what to do in this matchup.
Yeah, that's true. Luckily, we did. I mean, 1.4 came out a while back, but with 1.4 out, it helps a couple things. Of course, that increased immortal range, I think, changes quite a bit, and the decreased neural range, of course, changes a lot of how we have the Colossus versus Infestor kind of situation going on. So Zergs have to rely a little bit more on some Corruptors to be able to beat Colossi-based armies. So he's just got to be. He's just got to, I feel, adapt to the new changes and the new additions of the game. Essentially, there are a lot of new things you can do, especially with the Warp Prism. So I'm eager to see if he's going to try to utilize that, or if he's just going to go for the older style of just kind of, going for that death ball or something.
Well, we have seen Inca utilize that Warp Prism. Hopefully we do see it again against his opponent, Moonglade, who is quite a strong player. Now, Moonglade is all over the place, I feel like. Sometimes he has really good days, sometimes he has not the best days. And I feel if Moonglade brings his A game, he could take out anybody he wants to. The Australian powerhouse, this guy, I believe, is going to WCG because he's a fantastic player. But on top of that, Moonglade is just... excuse me, he's going to BlizzCon. That's what I meant to say. BlizzCon.
Oh, okay.
CG. BlizzCon. He's going to BlizzCon.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, I didn't want to say anything, but I was thinking,
BlizzCon.
WCG.
Yeah. My mind was frazzled. But nevertheless, it just shows he is one of the strongest players, especially in the Australian scene, the C scene, the Southeast Asia scene. I think Moonglade, it just depends what day he brings. He has the capacity to really take out Inca easily. He also has the capacity to lose miserably to Inca. It's just going to depend on, his mindset throughout this entire time.
Do you know how often he practices?
Not particularly.
Because I'm curious about that because, you know, I think consistency, first off, is one of the most valuable assets to have as a pro gamer. You don't want to go into a match and, you know, maybe do amazing or maybe just embarrass yourself. And I think consistency is one of those things that is hardest to achieve just by understanding the game and knowing the game. It's something you have to practice regularly for. You have to have those mechanics down, not just so that you're confident in them, but so that they're second nature. You're not even thinking about them while you're playing. That's how you can achieve that consistency. So it's not even like a conscious decision, and that way you don't have to actually have the opportunity to make a bad decision.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Moonglade did practice. I'm looking forward to this match. And, you know, I wish all these players good luck in every single one of these matches. Before we get in there, a huge thanks to our sponsors, AZO Monitors. They are a monitor company. iBuyPower, they are a computer company. Without iBuyPower and AZO, NASL would not be here. So huge thanks to them. And please go support them. Show them your love because they deserve it. They have been supporting esports, and it's only fair that we show them our own love. Because companies supporting esports, it's like our industry is becoming real, you know?
Yeah, man.
It's
Open it
awesome,
up.
dude.
Open up another tab right now. Check out their websites.
Yep.
Right now.
And
Don't close
they
this tab.
They should be underneath. Yeah,
Don't
close
this
tab.
But open another tab in that
straight up silly
browser.
if you do.
Check out those sites. Maybe hit that F5 button one time. You know, check out some of their products. It helps. It helps, man. Esports, they're helping esports.
I know,
it's really
man.
important.
So go check them out. Along with that, Kingston HyperX, they're going to be doing our show matches for, or their matches to remember, excuse me, throughout the entire season. So please do keep in mind with that and check them out whenever they come up. That being said, Orb, I think it's time. Let's go ahead and get into the matches. So without further ado, Inca versus Moonglade coming up after this.
Welcome to the North American Star League. Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. I never knew that when Starcraft 2 would come out that we would have anywhere near this big of a scene internationally. $50,000 will be awarded to someone that is such a staggering number.
This is not just a game, it's an all-out war. 40 of the world's top players all competing for the title of NASL champion.